Hello everyone, hi, I'm Alicia Malone from Turner Classic Movies and I'm excited to be here to moderate, thanks Ticia. I'm excited to be here to moderate a special Q&A for Honey Boy. And you know, when I was watching the film, the word that came to me was brave, because I can't imagine what it must have been like to put yourself and your personal trauma up on the big screen. But let's hear all about it from the writer and two of the actors, well, three of the actors, but one is also the writer. Please join me in welcoming Byron Bowers, Noah Duke, and Shia LaBeouf.
How y'all doing tonight? America!
Thank you all for being here. So Shia, I wanted to start with you, seeing how this whole thing started with you. So I know that this was part of therapy to write your story, but did the idea of putting it in a format of a script come to you because it's so familiar to you, having read a lot of scripts throughout your life?
Yeah, it's the only way. It's the only way I knew how to write. Most of my reading was in script form. Not a big bureaucratic literary mind, and so I had written it in note form. Like when I was there, exposure work, you do audio notes, and then once a week you get the computer, and then I would transcribe all my notes into like a conversation. So it was like, I write character names, and then come back into the room, pass the pages off to my therapist, and then we would trade scene. It was like scene work. Yeah, so it was written that way.
So you weren't really writing it necessarily for it to be seen by an audience?
No, initially I was just writing it to get through my therapy. And then I would send all my pages to Alma, and then after I had sent her about 60 or so pages over the course of the 7 weeks that I was there, she said, "Hey, this is like a narrative feature." I didn't believe her at first and didn't think we could get the money, because at this time I was quite nuclear still working on it, chill. And then when I went to her house, we hung out a little bit. She's like, "We don't have an ending." And then I went to Costa Rica, hadn't seen my dad in 7 years, and then wrote the rest of the pages off those audio recordings.
It's a really powerful piece, and Byron, I know, as well as being an actor and comedian, you're also a writer. So what did you think about this idea and of Shia's script?
Man, it was, at the time I was going through some personal stuff in my life that resonated with this story, and I thought it was something that needs to be told. And that's when I decided to try to get on board and throw my hat in a race. And that's how I ended up doing it. But the story is powerful. It shows you, we know one thing about a person, or we think we know one thing about a person, but you never really know until you hear that story. It allows us to really know the essence of this person and bring balance to what we know about, this person.
And how did you start in your work of understanding Percy, your character?
I brought Shia and Alma gave me the freedom to bring my real life into it. So it was understood because of the guilt I was going through, living the life that I led, and having a cousin in prison living the life that he led at the time when both our parents were addicts, and how our life turned out kind of differently, and it could have been the same and vice versa. So it's almost like a survivor's remorse within that. And then, to hear like a white guy come to rehab and complain about rehab as if it's jail. And I was like, nah, let me let you know that we are privileged to be here, Like, we complain about public restrooms, but in some other places, they gotta use a hole, people. A hole!
Well, Noah, you started acting when you were very, very young, so I imagine you must have been able to relate to the character of Otis and the responsibility of working from a young age, even though I know you have very supportive parents.
Yeah, I did. this was, a character that was quite far from me in terms of, just the vibe and their way of life, and obviously the events happening to them were very different. So, I had to find something that connected me as a person to Otis, and the industry was it, and the passion for the industry and the passion for this job was that was my connection, my way into his soul and his kind of being.
You watched a lot of Even Stevens.
I did. I mean, it started off as research, and then it just ended off as just entertainment. I must have binge watched that series over like a week or something, because I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was just really fun.
Did it also give you some insight into young Shire as an actor?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's crazy because you see a lot of those types of shows, and they're great too, but this one really stood out because of kind of the truth in it. And I don't know how Shire found the truth, because it's just crazy stuff that's going on. Highlights. Like, how do you find truth in something funny like that? But he did it, and I mean, the rest of the cast did it in this way that was kind of wonderful, and you really connected to them, even though they were doing these crazy things in the story.
Well, speaking of finding truth, that's something that Alma Harrell has always been good at with all of her work, capturing truth. So Shire, in addition to being a good friend of hers and having that trusting relationship, did her previous work as a documentary filmmaker make her the perfect choice for this movie?
She's her work prior to this, if you've seen Bombay Beach or Love True, she messes with dreams and reality in such a way that she builds bridges and deals with the subconscious, and a lot of these dance scenes and the physicality that came from his and Twig's moments were a lot of the three of them and stuff that wasn't in the pages. And she's aesthetically sound and big picture person and really obsessed with details and creates a really free environment on the set. I had experienced a bit of that. We had done a Sigur Rós video, and I felt the process and knew it was something different. And yeah, I knew about her before we walked in, for sure.
And she was also the one, I think, that said she wouldn't do it unless you played your father.
She did, yeah.
So what was it like that first time you look in the mirror and you see a version of your father?
What was it like the first time I looked in the mirror?
Was it difficult?
You run through a whole bunch of things go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And Byron, you were saying that you got the opportunity to contribute to this story as well, even though it's based on true life. There was a lot of room to improvise as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of room to improvise. I think with the blessing that Shia and Alma gave us was room to be. And once you are that in a character, you're just documenting a person at that point. So you're on page, you're off page, you're just walking around as this person and you're present. So this person will do whatever this person does. And a lot of that made it into the film, and they kept a lot of it. So yeah, I improvise a lot. That to answer your question.
And so I know you didn't get to work directly with Shia, but was he on set for some of your scenes?
He was. I don't know if he was on. That's the thing. I don't know. I only remember before action and after cut. But I was present during the performance, so I don't know if he was there or not. And I didn't know what actually I was doing at times. When they yelled cut, I would just look at all of them and like, what's happening? And they'd be like, okay, we got it. So yeah, but I know his presence was there. All over the set, his presence was there. Because it was people that worked with him on Even Steven and Even Transformer that was part of the production behind the scenes. So yeah, he definitely was there in spirit. Everybody had, when I say the freedom, everybody had freedom. And that freedom allowed us to be vulnerable as actors and allow us to have moments that even if we wasn't on like the physical set. We was in a video village. We teared up. Even the guy that was the crafty guy. Yeah, like we all was tied to this story in one way or another.
Yeah, and having so many people that you worked with, Shia, before on the crew, did that help to make you feel protected and safe?
Oh yeah, yeah, there's a lot of love around me. Yeah, and all of us, me and Noah really were locked in. I wasn't on set when I wasn't filming, and all my stuff was with Noah, so it was just we locked in, and that was that. Became very insular. My mom was on set, so she was kind of doing a lot of the hosting job, and yeah, I'd say good morning, we'd lock in, and we'd just be in a room all day, me and him, pretty much.
Yeah, because I was speaking with cinematographer Natasha Breyer, who's wonderful, and she was telling me about the process of shooting where they would just be ready to go when you walked on set, and it wasn't as if you necessarily rehearsed or blocked anything out. It was just wherever you want to go in the space, they'll make sure they have the lights and cameras ready to capture that, which I think is such an interesting way of shooting and to capture that real authenticity. So Noah, what was that like for you to shoot that way?
Crazy. It was so fun. I mean, it's just like, especially because, I mean, like Shai said before, and Byron was saying, like, we were in these characters, we were deep in, and we knew them so well inside out, and so to be able to just have a space where we could play and have the freedom to do kind of whatever we wanted was, it was just so, it was daunting, but really, really fun, and because I'd never really done anything like that, never really improvised before, there was a lot of improvisation, yeah, so it was a massive learning curve for me, but above all, it was just really fun, and it's kind of, this sort of thing is why I do what I do.
There was no marks either, so you didn't have to hit marks. That's how good Natasha and all my setup was, so it allowed you to be. I say this film could have happened. We were so much in character. This film could have been shot in Disney World, and you would have had the same results. That same father and son would have gotten into arguments on "It's a Small World" right down there.
Well, Noah, how did your bond with Shia change throughout the filming? Was there a moment when it got more distant from each other?
I mean, yeah, we were really, really close up until we started shooting, and obviously, the stuff that it was really emotional on set, and we were working hard. I mean, the love was still there, and the relationship and the trust was still there, but it wasn't as obvious as it was before. It was kind of hidden and saved till we'd done what we needed to do. But so yeah, and also like that kind of hurt. Like, because he was one of my best friends, and so him being kind of distant on set really kind of helped me with this character, and Otis wanting his dad and me wanting Shia, and that was kind of helped in a way. But yeah, no, we our relationship never faltered in any way. It was always there, but it kind of became subtler on set.
What was that like for you, Shia?
Well, I was feeling the same thing he was feeling from inside and outside, and yeah, all of it. You want a hug. You want a hug, and you want to spread love, and yeah, not hugging does something too.
Yeah, there's a scene, I think it's the scene where it's kind of like a dream sequence when I talk to my dad and I kind of like tell him how I feel, but then I kind of don't, I did it in my head, but I was kind of preparing for that scene, and hugs were pretty scarce, but when Shia came up and hugged me just before I went, and just before we started shooting, and that was like, it just set me off into that whole thing, and that was the one I felt, and I'm pretty sure that's the one that's in the movie, and that was because of that connection, and that's ultimately what Otis is aiming for in that sense. And so, if we can hug all the time, and if we can hang out all the time, that wouldn't have had the effect it did. So.
I'm definitely not an actress. I'm terrible at acting, so I can't imagine what it must have been like to put yourself in that personal position. But I have been to therapy where they've said, as we all should, but where they've said, imagine your younger self in the room, and what would you say to her, and what would you do to her? And I was thinking, Shai, you almost had a sense of that, seeing Noah as your younger self. Was there that experience?
It was different for me. No, I was seeing it from a different side. I was feeling jealousy, and I see him. He's an incredible actor, and there'd be scenes where he'd kill the scene, and he'd just be in beast mode, and I would just feel so jealous. Yeah, which is what my dad was feeling. So just empathizing with my dad's pain. I was trying to lean towards that side. He would do a scene, and then I would just think, man, it's my fucking movie. You're stealing my fucking and
that was my ultimate aim.
and that stuff would fuel the scenes, and create the distance, and feeling very, myopic, but it's what my dad was feeling too. I remember when my dad used to hit on women, and that was like his stage. That's when his peacock feathers would come out, and I remember just like shitting on those jokes, and when I was younger, and just like fucking his punchline up and all this kind of stuff, and just thinking always saw it from that side, and then I'm on set with him, and I'm seeing it from a whole other side, and empathizing with my dad, and feeling like, fuck this little kid, which is very weird, because you're, talking about yourself, but I saw kind of weird layers like that, It's just one example.
Well, he is very good in the film.
He's incredible.
Lucas Hedges.
Oh yeah, shout out to Lucas.
So Byron, working with Lucas, what was that like? Because anytime I see one of his films, I think, how can someone so young understand such a variety of different characters? He seems to transform with every role.
Well, I met Lucas at Shia, so it wasn't until we started doing the film
Stating
circuit.
character.
Yeah, because everybody pretty much was pregnant way before I was the last to really jump on board. So he was already like in the way.
He was living in my house at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, so they was deep in the character, and now I get a chance to see Lucas for who he was. But I remember Lucas being at the comedy store when I was performing like at midnight, and he was liking the comedy before I even decided to read the script or whatever. So I knew that, working with him would be easy because he understood me, and I made it a goal to understand Otis. And if you see in those scenes, I knew who he was. Like, he was the guy. You've been to a new school before that you didn't want to go to. And imagine walking in the cafeteria and slipping and almost falling and being embarrassed. And it's that one guy that's like, hey, I slipped in that same spot. And it just relieves all the tension and stuff, and y'all become buddies. So I knew he needed my help to be an ally within that. And that's one of the goals that I walked into the film with.
Alma was saying that pretty much everyone in the film was processing something
Yes.
of their own. Did you find making this film cathartic?
Yes, I did. Because I'm a child of an addict myself, and having to deal with and question things that you were taught when you were younger, and being in LA, which is like my rehab, because I'm distant away from family, and sometimes LA can be alienating and lonely in the journey within itself. And then having this other guy come in at first, and I'm like, who is this new guy? And then befriend him was something that I go through like in real life, and something that we all do. We try to find an ally in these lonely places, So that and the overall story helped me heal and deal with it.
And I imagine you all became very close. Noah, was it like a family again?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, and like honestly, this whole like press tour has been amazing because of that. Because it was so close. I mean, the crew was also really small and really contained, and you know, you knew almost everyone's names, and which doesn't normally happen. And it was definitely a family. Everyone was really tight on that one.
Yeah. Wait, the Honey Boy too, though.
Well, you've seen in films like Act of Killing and in Love True as well, Alma's film, the idea of change through reenacting something from your past. So Shia, for you, how much did making this film change you?
Oh, there's too many ways for me to even mention up here.
But all positive ways.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that the film is coming out to an audience?
I like that it moves people. That's all you ever want to do when you make something. You just want to move people. So, yeah, I'm happy that people are moved by it.
Well, you're too humble to talk about yourself. So, Nella, can we talk about how it was acting opposite Shia, just this amazing performance in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, it was,
Here's my performance.
like,
I'm not trying to be cute about it or sweet about it.
no, but like, but the same for you. This was definitely, it couldn't have happened without him. And, well, it could, you know, it was the relationship between us that made me feel safe to risk and to be emotional on, you know, in front of the camera and kind of go to the places that I did. And yeah, he's really, he really is the most amazing person to play with and to just like go places with and to be free with. And he's a truth seeker. And I always say, you know, once you let Shia in your heart, you can't get him out. It's very annoying.
Well, please help spread the word about Honey Boy and Johnny.
Thank y'all.